Ray from Philly, LA, a man with a mission. He's got the passion, fueled by ambition. With a YouTube channel, taking the lead, talking about baseball cards, planting the seed. He's got the knowledge, he knows every team from the Yankees to the Reds. It's his baseball train, unboxing, reviewing. He's got the goods, Ray from Philly's here.
Hey, what's going on, sports cards fans? Ray from Philly here, and welcome to another episode of what I like to call Sports Card Memories. This here is episode number 7, where we introduce YouTubers out there that will discuss their past, present, and the future of their goals in the hobby. So, without further ado, I'm bringing in a YouTuber, and let's welcome Billy. And the channel is BILLYBALLGAME SPORTS CARDS. Bill, thanks for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on, Ray. This is kind of a surreal moment for me because you're one of the OG YouTubers that have been around for like 8 years doing videos. So this is awesome.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we're going to get started. So we were talking off air beforehand. You're from Missouri, right? You live near our friend Chris from Missouri,
I do.
and so that's cool. And so we're going to get started on the past, and let's get started with how long ago you started, around what time frame, and was there a particular person or event that got you started in the hobby, and just tell us a little bit how you got started.
Well, so initially it was back in 83 or 84 when I was a little guy. And it was just, baseball runs in my family on my mom and dad's side. Like everybody's huge fans of baseball. And so
Right.
you can't grow up an hour south of St. Louis without loving the Cardinals. So just I remember growing up really little, hearing my dad tell stories of, some of the guys he grew up watching in the late 60s, early 70s. And then him telling stories about his collection disappearing after he grew up and went to New England. And so I don't remember my dad ever like pushing me to get cards, but I remember buying cards when I was really young with him in gas stations for a quarter a pack and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then I actually lost my first collection around 85 or 86. My mom and dad split, and we were moving out of a house, and it got left there. So they were beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They were cards I put around bicycle spokes and stuff like that. So
like all of us.
Right, not a huge loss. But then in 86, 87, I got back into it and collected pretty heavy all the way up through high school. And then I kind of tailed off a little bit in the later 90s and then would kind of dip back into it occasionally. I would, it seems like every year I bought at least a blaster box or something. But more heavily, once I got out of the Air Force around 99 or 2000, I started buying more stuff and then just gradually got more into it to where I eat, sleep, and breathe baseball cards now.
Now, back then, was there card stores in your area? Was it like, especially in the 90s around here, there was one on every corner. I'm curious as to around that time in Missouri, was there a lot of local card shops in the area?
Where I grew up, an hour south of St. Louis, there were a couple within maybe 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm sure in St. Louis there were several then, but I kind of just made the rounds at the local shops when I could get over there.
Right. Any card shows at that time frame that you used to go to back then, or was
Yeah,
there?
we used to. My uncle and I collected together, and he actually got me into setting up at card shows a little bit when I was in high school. I remember one being at a college gymnasium, him and I setting up at that, and I sold a 77 Nolan Ryan, which at the time was in Beckett for $55, and it had a big crease in the corner, and I sold it for like probably $20-30. And
right.
I sold my original King Griffey Jr. 89 Upper Deck rookie card at that show. But then as I went on through high school, I started selling more and more after I got my driver's license and was, wanting to take girls out on dates. That's kind of how I funded my fun money, was through baseball cards.
You and me both.
Yeah. So I sold a lot of stuff back when I was in high school.
Were you doing any set building at all back then, or what kind of collecting were you doing? Just Cardinals mainly, or just opening and ripping packs?
I've almost always, until the last few years when I got into vintage, been more of a pack ripper.
Mm-hmm.
So back then I can't even tell you how many packs of 87 and 88 tops I ripped,
Right.
So basically all the way through until, I guess, probably about 2007 or 2008, that's pretty much all I did was rip packs.
Right. And who were some of your idols back then when you grew up a Cardinals fan?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing maybe Lou Brock or McGuire. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
I was a little behind Lou Brock,
Okay.
unfortunately. Growing up, it was Ozzie Smith.
Okay.
Smith and Willie McGee. And then Ken Griffey Jr. happened in 1989. And he was pretty much my guy from then on. Now, since then, I've, branched out. McGuire, of course, in the late 90s. And then, Griffey went to the Reds. And as a Cardinals fan, it's in my DNA to not like the Reds. So I kind of lost interest in Griffey while he was with the Reds.
Sure.
But then, so a lot of guys, all the Cardinal greats, of course, now, but I didn't get to see Bob Gibson pitch and
Right.
guys like that,
Right.
But I'm left-handed, and I played first base and outfield. So I'm always drawn to left-handed hitters for some reason. Those are the guys I like.
Right. And in the 80s, the Cardinals were a really successful franchise. They went to the 82 series, I think the 85 series, and if I'm not mistaken, 87 against the Twins, and Whitey Ball, who just passed away recently.
Yeah.
I'm sure Whitey Herzog was like a figure in your town back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In one of my most recent videos, I started talking about Whitey and got a little choked up, got a little emotional, because he was baseball. I grew up, I lived in Hawaii. My dad was in the Army, and then he got out, and we were in Kentucky for a short period of time.
Right.
And then we moved back to Missouri, and that was 82.
Right.
And so the World Series happened, and those are my earliest memories of Cardinal baseball, was that 82 World Series team managed by Whitey Herzog.
And he was king of small ball, right?
Yeah.
What was their saying? Get him on, get him over, and get him in.
Right.
And there was like a speed track right back then with Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, Terry Pendleton before he went to the Braves. These guys could run.
Yeah.
Jack Clark was on that team. Ozzie Smith could run as well. And great pitching. It wasn't, live and die by the 3-run homer. That was how don't get me wrong, I like the home run too, but this was like baseball generated runs.
Yeah.
And Whitey was the king and the master at that. So
yeah, they were awesome. They were a whole lot of fun to watch. And last weekend I was up at Chris's house, and we were talking to another buddy of ours, and Chris and his other buddy are both Royals fans. So of course, whenever I get up there, I catch it over the 85 World Series.
85 World Series. Who was that umpire? I forgot his name. That call at first base.
Was it Don Dinkinger?
Don Dinkinger, yeah. I've seen highlights of that. That's crazy.
Well, and it didn't cost us the series, right? Because there was still Game 7, but just that call completely changed.
Oh, the whole momentum just was like the balloon, the air it just came out of the balloon, and that was a bad call. That was a crazy call, but unbelievable. All right, so moving forward now, we're here present day. I see a lot of stuff you have great in the background, and I've watched a lot of your videos, and one of the main reasons why I like to have you on. And tell us, to people out there right now, what is your focus right now? Like, what do you collect now? Or do you collect graded cards, or do you mainly just focus on what you're doing? So let people know kind of what you're up to these days.
I'm really all over the place. It's hard for me to stay focused, but I've been working on a 1960 top set for a few years. So that's a huge focus in my collection. I'm a little over 50% of the way there now.
Good.
But again, of course, the Cardinal greats. I've gotten more into the Cardinal great rookie cards. and been picking a few of those up here recently. And I would like to get further into that eventually. You know, maybe not rookie cards, but at least cards of some of the all-time Cardinal greats. Like, sorry, my dogs are going nuts upstairs.
That's all right. Mine do too.
But yeah, like Dizzy Dean, I would love to get a 33 Gowdy Dizzy Dean, just the all-time great Cardinals. And then of course, you know, King Griffey Juniors everywhere. And then just Hall of Fame rookie cards, you know, just the Hall of Fame players. You know, eventually I would like to do player runs and stuff like that, but I've got so many cards that I want, it's hard to keep focused.
Do you have cards you want to show with you or anything?
I've pulled out quite a few. Where would you like me to start?
You're running the show.
Okay. So I guess we can work from like earliest collecting interests to more present, I guess.
Yeah.
So of course, I talked about King Griffey Jr. Here's the 89 Upper Deck. This is in a 9.
That's what I have, a 9. Yep.
And I wouldn't mind getting a 10, but I'm almost 50 years old and my eyes aren't great. So I can't tell the difference in a 9 or a 10, you know?
You can't. You really can't. I mean, my friends and I say this thing, like, can you please explain to me the difference between a 9 and a 10? I'm like, it's so minuscule, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Yeah. If I have to have a loop or a magnifying glass, like a 9 is fine with me.
A 9 is fine. That's the saying on YouTube. 9s are just fine.
Right. And then these were actually 2 of the first graded cards that I ever bought when I was really into hockey. Back in 2007 or 2008. Score. Yeah, 89 score traded and 89 tops traded. These are also both 9s. The glare on my light is a little.
It's okay.
My light's a little bright. But yeah, these were 2 of the first graded cards I ever bought. These were like $15 a piece that I bought at a card shop in Colorado.
Cool.
And then really, so yeah, I bought those in like 2007 or 2008. And I had maybe 4 graded cards. And then once I retired from the military and moved back to Missouri, then I really started getting into buying more graded cards. I was still ripping modern stuff, 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
But I bought Paul Goldschmidt rookie, Juan Soto, a bunch of different stuff like that. But then as we're coming into the pandemic, 2018, 2019, that stuff was everywhere. And then heading into the pandemic, like all of a sudden, poof, you couldn't find any of it.
Yep.
And so I was starting to have flashbacks of the junk wax era. And that's kind of what got me more focused in on vintage, because those are the cards that I always wanted as a kid,
right?
Of players that I always admired as a kid. That I thought were just always going to be out of reach. So I went to my first card show in Columbia. I think it was the summer of 2019. And I bought, and these cards I've shown a lot on my channel, but a lot of your viewers probably haven't seen my channel, so it won't be too redundant. But I bought this card ungraded for $40.
That card's amazing. You ever notice the bats on there? If you look at the barrels, you see 2 barrels.
Right.
You see 3 knobs.
Yes. It's almost like an optical illusion. Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, I didn't have a beer today. Like looking at this thing.
Right. And I know there are 3 bat heads in there, but it's really hard to find where it would be.
I can't see the other. Where's the 3rd barrel?
I know. I think it's like parallel to the one closest to us is my guess.
It's the biggest mystery to me.
Right. So yeah, that's really kind of what sparked it, was picking this card up and then a couple others at that show. And then, I would pick, I got a 64 Hank Aaron that I picked up pretty cheap, a 60 Willie Mays. I sent them all into grade, and then just was like, that's where I want to focus my collection. That's what I love.
What company did you send it to? PSA, SGC?
SGC. So I've only graded 1 card through PSA, and it was through the local card shop. And so I've always felt comfortable with SGC. My collection is actually leaning heavier toward PSA.
Right.
But every submission I've sent in myself to get graded, it's always been SGC.
Cool. So are you finding yourself getting more and more now involved in the grading? Like, do you prefer graded cards now, or it doesn't matter? You don't mind raw either?
I, to be honest with you, I do prefer graded.
Me too.
And it's not that I have a problem with raw cards. Most of the cards in my collection are raw.
Hmm.
And I've heard it talked a lot about on YouTube. Greg from Midlife Cards talks about it. For
Right.
me, it makes it more liquid because I'm not going to be buried with these cards. So my
Right.
wife and kids are going to be stuck with these at some point, and it will make them easier for them to be able to value and
100 times easier. Yeah. And they look nice. It's authenticated, it's real, and you don't have to like look at it and wonder what the value is. The value is right there, what the grade is, and it's easy to find. But yeah, I mean, um, 10 years ago, I started getting into grading, and now I'm totally hooked on it. And I don't really care if it's SGC or PSA. I prefer PSA, but I mean, to me, yeah, you're going to find yourself definitely getting more and more involved in graded cards, for sure. Do you like to player runs, or have you looked into any set registry things with PSA or
I,
anything
I
like that?
I've looked around at set registry stuff. It's not anything that I've gotten involved with at this point.
Hmm.
Maybe at some point with PSA and SGC now being sister companies,
With them, yeah.
combine a set registry, then that might make me more inclined to get into it.
Hmm.
Um, I would like to get into player runs. It's
Hmm.
just right now in the vintage side of things, my collection is so incomplete,
Hmm.
um, that it would just be like throw a dart at a board and I get the card that I need or
Right.
want. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I'm trying to. I tend to try to collect by years,
Okay.
and that allows me to somewhat keep focused. But I get distracted by Hall of Fame rookie cards and stuff like that. And
Huh.
really, the biggest individual players I collect right now are Ozzie Smith and Ken Griffey Jr.
Right. Hall of Fame sets are great. I mean, I do player runs, and I also like doing Hall of Fame year sets, like say 1972 Hall of Fame set registry. So you just get all the Hall of Famers from 72, right? And I find doing Hall of Fame years are really cool too. So if you're interested in finding something to do like that, that's really a cool project. Just pick a year. Like a lot of people will pick their birth year, which mine is right there. And yeah, and you could just do that year, and that's a fun project too. So
Yeah.
let's go future now. Have you ever been to a national? And
I have not. So
are you going to go this year?
I am. This year will be
Nice.
my first national. I'm really excited about it. Um, I wanted to go to Strongsville,
Me
um,
too.
but I'm a school teacher, so um, it just didn't work with our spring break, and I'm also coaching baseball, so we
Oh
had a
no.
lot going
Yeah,
on
yeah,
over
yeah,
that
yeah.
weekend. So I'm hoping I can make it next year if our schedule lines up a little better.
Right.
But I'm really excited to go to the national. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm uh I'm concerned that it will be overwhelming. I think the Strongsville is a little bit more intimate.
Yeah.
Same quality time with YouTubers. You don't have to cover 600,000 square feet of floor space.
Yeah. It, yeah. A heads up. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I've been to two, and the first one was in 2016, and you're literally like this. You don't know you just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
But I would suggest definitely. How many days are you going? Are you going more than one day? Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're doing all 5 days. I've already bought my
oh,
ticket. We're riding out with Chris from Missouri and
yeah,
a couple friends of ours.
you'll
And
see it all. You'll see
to
it all.
to clarify that statement, I believe I did go to a national when I was in high school when it was in St. Louis in 92, 93,
Okay.
94, somewhere around then.
Okay.
But I probably had $20 to spend. And we waited in line. Like we
Right.
went there to get St. Louis Blues hockey autographs, and we waited in line for what seemed all day to get 5 or 6 autographs.
Right, right.
This will be a completely different experience.
Yeah, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. And there's thousands of people walking in there. So when you get there, what are your goals? What are you, or you haven't decided yet? Because you still got 2 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Have you thought in your mind what you want to do when you get there, or what you're looking for?
I have a list of 4 cards that I'm looking
Okay.
for. I'm hoping that I can get 3 out of those 4.
That would be great.
They're pretty. They're not super rare, hard to find cards. So I'm looking for a 33 Gaudy Rogers Hornsby, the 119 that, again, Greg from Midlife just bought.
Right.
I'm looking for a 48 Bowman Stan
Musial rookie.
Yeah.
Beautiful card.
And a 59 Topps Bob Gibson rookie.
Got the trifecta.
Right. And then number 4 is kind of a change in pace, a 68
Right.
Nolan Ryan. So
Wow, and you got some heavy hitters.
Well, it's just, again, those are just iconic cards that I grew up with. Like I've loved Nolan Ryan forever, since middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a buddy of mine brought a Nolan Ryan rookie card into shop class when I was in 7th grade, and it was worth $100 then. And I was like foaming at the mouth over this Nolan Ryan rookie card,
Right.
So that's always been a huge card that I just really kind of thought was unreachable
Right.
for the vast majority of my life.
So those other cards, are you looking for them already graded?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, I would be willing to buy ungraded, like if I could find an example that I was confident about, because that's a way you can save huge money, right?
A lot. Yep.
Yeah. If I spend $200 or $300 to buy a Bob Gibson rookie that grades as a 4 or a 5, it's a $500 to $700 card that I bought for $200-300.
You're saving 50% at least.
Yeah.
I would just make sure that, and I'm sure all of them are, but reputable dealer. I mean, if you know the dealer, that helps even more. Or if it's just like like a big time dealer that everybody knows. But I'm sure, especially at the National, they're all reputable dealers. And what I mean by that is make sure that the car is real.
Right.
And like I've bought tons of raw cards from my local store owner, and I totally trust him that I asked him, I'm like, if I get this grade, if it comes back fake, can I get my money back? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm with you on that. I mean, if you could save 50%, 50% on a card and getting it raw, by all means, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And that Hornsby card, you're talking about the one where he's fielding, right? Not where he's standing on the top of the steps.
Yeah, the one where he's fielding, I think that's a lot better looking card than the other one.
It is.
And this Yastrzemski, I bought it raw. The one I already showed. So like
7's great.
and sometimes it works, right? And other times, like I haven't bought an inauthentic card yet, but I bought cards that graded lower than I thought, so therefore I overpaid.
Right.
Now, obviously, if it's a big card like a Bob Gibson rookie or a Nolan Ryan rookie, then I'm gonna look at that with a much more discerning eye than a 60 Topps Jim Cobb rookie.
Right. Yeah. Are you into autographs at all, memorabilia, or just cards? To me, I just focus on the cards.
Yeah. I have a few autographs. I don't have a whole lot. I have an autographed Ken Griffey Jr. bat up here that I bought not long ago.
Awesome.
I don't know if you remember Chris's video where he found a collection of 800 autographed bats. So him and I dug around in a machine shed for like half a day pulling out our autographed bats. I picked up a red Shane Dietz and an Ozzie Smith autographed bat from that. And then later I bought an Albert Pujols autographed bat.
That's awesome. That's great.
So I have 4 autographed bats. I have an Ozzie Smith ball. I have a few cards with autographs. It's not anything that I've ever really focused on just because of the cost aspect of things. I'd rather buy a cool card.
And the space.
Right. And space. but I really love autographed baseballs
Me
and
too.
could see myself picking up more of those every
Yeah,
now and then, not
right.
really as a focus, you
Is
know.
there any Cardinals at the National this year? I haven't looked at the list
I
yet to
looked
see.
at it, but I don't remember, to be honest with you, who's going to
Okay,
be there and who's not. But
right.
for example, we were at a show last fall, I think it was, with Chris and a couple other guys in St. Louis, and Whitey Herzog was doing autographs there.
Uh,
I didn't get his autograph, and now I really wish
yeah,
I would have met Whitey Herzog and got his autograph. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah. Well, you already have pool holes, and I'm trying to think what other living Cardinals legend is out there. I mean, Brock and Gibson are gone, and
Yeah,
um, so maybe Ozzie Smith for a ball.
yeah,
That's good. I'm with you. I mean, I used to collect jerseys, and it was just too much. And I like the simplicity. I mean, it's just autographed baseballs look great.
yeah,
They
yeah.
just look great on a baseball.
Yeah, and they don't take up a lot of room. Like Chris has an awesome stack of
Yeah,
autographed balls in his card room that just look amazing. And
it's awesome.
excuse me, in my card room, I've got stuff everywhere. Like I was telling my wife, I'm gonna have to spend half my summer down here, like moving stuff around so I can
Yeah.
condense stuff because I have 82 World Series Cardinals T-shirts hanging on the wall. I've got graphic magazine, Stan Musial framed pictures on the wall, like
Awesome.
just random Mark McGuire, St. Louis Post-Dispatch
Mhm.
from 70 home run season, like just
Right,
random stuff all over the place.
right. Have you ever been to Cooperstown?
I have not. I want to go so bad. I was actually talking to my wife about going this summer. I don't know if we'll make it this summer, but hopefully here in the next couple of years we
I'm
can.
planning on next summer, and I've been there twice, and let me tell you, it's heaven on earth.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how amazing it would be. And that's another thing I wanted to do since I can remember is going
Man,
to Cooperstown.
I'm I'm telling you, Billy, the first time you walk into that museum, it's like I don't want to get emotional, but you really like it's amazing when you walk through especially the plaque Carter, especially the first. And oh my God, you have to go there. I've been there twice, and I want to make it more of at least an every other year thing with my son and I. You have to go there. Oh my God, it's just awesome.
Well, and you're
Just
you're fortunate because you're a lot closer,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and that would be to me. That's like I love baseball. I eat, sleep, and breathe baseball, and have
yeah.
since I've
Me
been
too.
7, 8 years old.
Me too.
That is like walking into baseball heaven
It
in the
is.
Hall of Fame.
It is. And then even outside the museum, you walk up and down the little main street with all the stores, Yastrzemski's, Mickey's Place. Oh, I could go on and on. The stores are it's a real walk back in time. I wouldn't recommend going on induction weekend. I did that once when Mike Schmidt got inducted. Induction weekend is packed. Like
Oh, I
it
can imagine.
literally, I mean, it's a little street, right? And to cross from one pavement to go across street to the other pavement took me 20 minutes. And we're talking how wide's a street?
Yeah,
It took me 20 minutes because everybody's like this.
that's
So
crazy.
I went in May the second time, and it's like you have the town to yourself. I mean, there's people there,
Yeah.
but it's not like induction weekend. I mean, induction weekend's cool. I would do it once for like your favorite player or something like that, but I wouldn't do it again. But any other weekend, you gotta go.
Maybe I'll shoot to go when Pujols or Molina get inducted.
God bless.
Right. Right.
It's like there's usually 30,000 people, and you got to remember this town is like population's like 800. It's like
Wow.
1,000. You put 30,000 people on that street, man. You're
Yeah.
literally like this. You're like, oh my God, I'm having anxiety. It's
Yeah,
just
I might.
well, this has been awesome, man. I mean, I'm going to try and get to the national myself this year. I really wanted to go to Strongsville, and last minute, my son had a baseball tournament. So, but now I might change gears and switch it to Cleveland to go to the national. We'll have to like get together, me, you, and Chris, and
Absolutely.
hang out for sure. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on and giving us a journey through your history of your collecting. I wish you luck on the future, and we have to do this again sometime. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I had a great time. This is the quickest 30 minutes I think I've had, and I don't know how long.
Yeah, wow, it's 30 minutes.
Almost. Yeah.
That's because I yap, I'm like, when it comes to cards, we're,
Oh, I do too.
just
I could
yap
spend hours talking about cards. Yeah.
hours. All right, Billy, well, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks everyone for tuning in to Sports Card Memories, episode number 7. Check out Billy's link down below. And like I always say, guys, have fun with it, and I'll see you real soon. Take care.